We light this candle to remind us to pray for peace and act for peace. Our peacemaker story comes from Kenya. Dr. Wangari Maathai is the first environmentalist and the first African woman to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. She's a tree hugger. She led the Greenbelt movement to plant more than 30 million trees and provide income for more than 80,000 households. She might have led a traditional woman's life in Kenya, such as working the fields, gathering firewood, fetching water, but her brother suggested she attend school, and she excelled. She went on to study at Mount St. Scholastica College in Kansas and went to Germany to earn her PhD in 1971. She was the first woman in East and Central Africa to earn a doctoral degree. And she said, "My background as a biological scientist and the daughter of a peasant farmer provided the seed for growth and long-term commitment to the environment." She founded the Greenbelt movement in 1977, and it had a strategy for planting trees on public land. Seedlings were planted in rows of at least 1,000 to form green belts that provided shade and windbreak, facilitated soil conversation. I don't know what that was. Conservation, thank you. Improved the beauty of the landscape and created habitat for wildlife. The Green Belt initially involved women and later men planting both indigenous and fruit trees, which helped with the malnutrition. In 1989, she launched a campaign to save Uhuru Park, Nairobi's only remaining park, when the president, Daniel Arap Moi, who was a dictator, was planning to build a high-rise skyscraper and a 44-story statue of himself. That project would have severely damaged the park and plunged Kenya further into debt because he was going to borrow the building funds. So they gathered in the park, protested, and were harassed and beaten, but eventually he gave up on the project because the funders pulled out. Another time they returned to the park, this time with mothers whose sons were imprisoned for seeking more democratic rights for Kenyans, and declaring the park Freedom Corner. She stayed there with the mothers for 4 days. On the 5th day, they were beaten again. She had to be hospitalized. They were arrested. But a year later, the sons were released. She said, "The clarity of what you ought to do gives you courage and removes the fear." The Moi regime surprisingly ended peacefully, and she found herself then being part of the government. And was appointed a Minister for Environmental and Natural Resources. She won the Peace Prize. I'm sorry, I don't have the year. And the chairman of the committee said that there are different paths to peace, and environmental protection has become yet another path to peace. And I'll end with this final quote from Maathai. "Today we are faced with a challenge that calls us for a shift in our thinking so that humanity stops threatening its life support system. We are called to assist the earth to heal her wounds and in the process heal her own. Indeed, to embrace the whole creation in all its diversity, beauty, and wonder." I invite you to stand in body or spirit and greet those around you.